Iranian protests have spread across the entire country as demonstrations calling for an end to the Islamist Khamenei regime enter their 11th day. Yesterday, protesters and regime forces clashed in the Tehran Bazaar. Iranian human rights groups say since protests erupted, they've spread to at least 285 locations in 92 cities across 27 provinces. Crowds across the nation are estimated to amount to millions of Iranians. In Abdanan, men and women can be seen chanting. Elon Musk has waded in, responding, "What a futile decision," to the Ayatollah's proclamation on X that he will not give in to the enemy. Ignoring demands from the mullahs to go home, crowds having set objects on fire can be heard chanting Musk's put down. Elsewhere, Iranians were changing street signs to Donald J. Trump Street, demonstrating their disdain for the mullahs. Authorities have arrested at least 2,076 protesters, with 36 people having lost their lives, 34 protesters, 4 of whom were children, and 2 members of law enforcement. Reports have emerged the Ayatollah has planned to flee to Moscow if he's unable to put down the protests. The government have announced a £5 a month subsidy to help families with the cost of living crisis in the hope it will quell public anger. Authority appears to be slipping away from Khamenei, as videos emerge purporting to show law enforcement losing control of the streets. The Centre for Human Rights in Iran has accused the regime of gunning down protesters and attacking Khomeini Hospital in Ilam. Authorities say the hospital was being used as a base for protest operations. Protesters have been calling for an end to the current Islamist regime and a return of the Shah. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi says he has never seen an opportunity since the Islamic Revolution as good as this one.
The Iranian people are more than ever committed to bring an end to this regime, as the world has witnessed in the last few days. The level of demonstrations unprecedented in Iran, over 100 cities and millions of people on the street chanting death to the dictator, an end to this regime. And by God, it is about time that Iran gets its opportunity to free itself from a tyrannical regime.
Usually a passive responder to events rather than leading a revolt, Pahlavi broke with convention and called on protesters to keep up the pressure. He then appealed to law enforcement to turn on the regime. Nick Dunning, GB News.
Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahasham Racha Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Barakatham, peace and blessings. To the sincere Akim, noiseless gospel abroad, keeping the faith and diligence and testimony of our Lord Yahushai. And to the few sincere Akwath that listen and learn the silence as well. To you I say Shalom. So it's your brother Azariah, back with another lesson through the Spirit. And, coming back, because Esau Punk ass, gave me a strike for a video I did like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So because of that, I couldn't upload on this one for a week. But, I was still, putting stuff up on the backup channel. So, but anyway, you see what's going on, what's been going on since pretty much the start of this year. There's pretty much a color revolution going on in Iran, all right? And you saw where some of the protesters, they was putting up, death to the dictator signs, like they was supporting Trump, all right? Which that's a clear sign right there that this is George Soros, that the elites are involved in this hardcore, all right? Because where did all these protests come from? Just out of the blue. As soon as the year started, all right, you basically have now a color revolution going on in Iran. You see what I'm saying? And we know that the Mossad and also the American CIA is involved in this, all right? They pretty much do this every time they want to go into a nation, destabilize it, because it's nothing for these devils to go in and just, pay a whole bunch of people, all right? Just pay a whole bunch of people, have them, give them the resources the resources to go out there and protest and just cause havoc, man. All right, that's what these elites do all over the world. Okay, same thing they did in Libya with Gaddafi. Same thing they did with Osama bin Laden. Same thing they did with Saddam Hussein, just to name a few. But they do this all over the world, man. You know what I'm saying? This is Esau #1 playbook, okay? To destabilize a nation from within, then go in with your order. Okay, you come in, Esau, and be the peacemaker. You know what I'm saying? So you go to this article right here, right? Check this out. Iran protests enter 11th day. Demonstrators seize control of 2 western cities. All right, so allegedly now, this is the 11th day of these Iran protests, and protesters have now allegedly taken control of the cities of Abdanan and Salakia and Malek Shahi, both in the Kurdish region of Iran, have been abandoned by the country's security forces. So there's an overwhelming discontent with the people there in Iran. No doubt, you know, much of it. Look at that, the time, 11:44, call Yahweh Shemel Shai. But, you know, no doubt that there are people there that are discontent with the way things are going, because Iran is pretty much being sanctioned, you know, by the West, all right? But they still doing, you know, deals with Russia, China, and that, you know, BRICS, the BRICS nations, you know what I'm saying, which Iran is a part of, you see? So, but a whole lot of people are, you know, catching hell out there on Iran, but that's really the judgment of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And the scriptures told you that in the last days that the nations would be perplexed, you know what I'm saying, that there will be much distress among the nations, man. Protests all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So reading this, it says the protests against the regime in Iran have reached their 11th day, and they show no signs of stopping. On Wednesday, in a precedent-setting development, 2 cities in the country's Kurdish province, Abdanan and Malik Shahi, fell into the hands of the protesters after security forces withdrew from them. All right, so it's saying here that apparently out there in Iran, 2 cities have been taken over by protesters, right? Now, we get the Western version of the news, but we know what's really going on, okay? And also you have to keep in mind that Iran, they don't have a Rothschild-controlled central bank, okay? And they also have hypersonic missiles, you see? So Iran is a big threat to the small hats, all right? That's why the elites have funded this color revolution, man, because they want to get the current Ayatollah regime out of there and set up a puppet in Iran to where they can control the oil, they can control the resources, and ultimately they can neutralize the threat of Iran's potential nuclear program, okay? But these things are not going to go as Esau thinks it's going to go, okay? Because keep in mind that Iran, they have the backing of China, Russia, North Korea, and the BRICS nations. You see, so they're not just fighting against Iran, man. See, this is why they got to go in with the CIA, all right, with undercover ops, you know, and do these operations, man, because they can't just run up in Iran like that, like how they did Venezuela, all right? Because, number one, all the Eastern nations that are there, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, that'd be a huge deal, all right? Because then they would see the West as a direct threat to them. You see what I'm saying? So they got to make, you know, they got to send special ops in to make it look like an organic thing. Like, oh, Iran is out of control. You see all these people are protesting. The government is falling apart. Inflation is rising. America needs to step in. That's exactly what they want to do. All right, but this is the Cassius Belli to do so. Reading on, it says here, the official news agencies of the regime in Iran did report deaths in clashes between protesters and security forces, but at the same time, continue to deliver reports that contradict reality in an attempt by the regime to downplay the protests.
Good evening and welcome to I-24 News. I'm Emily Francis. Our top story, the commander-in-chief of the Iranian army said the Islamic Republic views statements by President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu regarding the protests as a threat and would not tolerate their continuation without retaliation. Amir Hatami warned that, quote, if the enemy makes a mistake, Iran's response would be stronger than June's 12-day war between Iran and Israel. We are now heading live to Washington, D.C., where we are joined by Saeed Ghassaminejad, a senior advisor for the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Hello, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, we ain't gotta get too deep into that, but look, man, you know, these devils, these Edomites, all right, they're pretty much destabilizing the whole earth. Because why? They're moving into this beast system, man. So they got to have all nations on board with this thing, right? They don't want to have any resistance. And a lot of this back and forth you see between these nations, it is theater, all right? It is staged, but at the same time, it still goes into biblical prophecy. You see, because when, for example, when the prophet Ezra, you know, when he was seeing the visions of the last days and the nations, you know, warring against one another and protests going on, he didn't know the intricacies of why these things were happening. He just saw that these things happen. All right, but he didn't know that, this is a Mossad or a CIA backed coup of a country. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't know that, America and Europe are at odds because they arguing between, you know, who's gonna have what in Greenland and territory and this and that. He didn't understand all these things. He just saw that these things happen. Not that it matters why these things are happening. Well, you know, it does benefit you to know, you know, why certain things go down. But overall, we understand these things fulfill biblical prophecy, man. All right. And we understand that we're in the last days and these things must be. All right. So these things are going to continue to increase and turn up. And all over the world right now, you having protests. Okay. We don't get news of a lot of stuff because there's a media blackout. And pretty much, you know, Esau, he don't want people in the West to really know how bad the things are. You know what I'm saying? Because right now things seem normal, but if you really knew what was going on, if you really tapping in and paying attention, then you know that the whole earth is in an uproar, man. People are angry, people are upset, people are losing. All right, so there's a lot to be angry about, man. And that's because why? The wicked beareth rule. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say in Proverbs that when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. So all this mourning, all this anguish and anxiety on the earth is because of the wicked being the rule, man. And this is why we pray for new rulership, all right, in the form of the kingdom of heaven upon the earth, where the Israelites are going to rule in righteousness over the nations, man. And you're not going to have all this war, all these protests, and all this confusion, all right? That's going to be done away with in the kingdom. Let's see. Meanwhile, today as well, protests continued at numerous locations across the country. In the Loristan province in the west of the country, demonstrators were heard calling for the return of the Shah's heir, Ali Pahlavi, who was currently in exile. The Iran International News Agency, which opposes the regime, published a video showing a water cannon spraying protesters in an attempt to quell the demonstration. So yeah, you know, they also talking about Trump getting involved in this, sending in troops and all that. You know, we're gonna see what happens, but we know that that's the end goal. Because, you know, speaking on not a Jew, right? He been trying to get at Iran since like the 80s. You know, so he been trying to get at Iran, man. Like, he's been trying to get them out of there. And I think Iran, if I'm not mistaken, is the last country that they want to get out the way in the so-called Middle East. Okay, that's like the last stronghold that they want to do away with, man. So that's why these things are happening within that nation, just all of a sudden. Okay, so yeah, we're definitely in a time of war. There's a whole lot going on within the earth, man. Like, you can't even keep up. It's like every hour something new is popping off. Okay, but you know, it's still important to tap into these things and be aware, because these things again fulfill biblical prophecy. All right, and these things are a gradual buildup to the inevitable World War III. All right, so let's go to Second Ezra 16 and 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Woe goes into destruction. All right, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a moment. So the prophet Ezra, all right, is speaking here of what he's seeing, and saying he noted this time now, all right, the time of the last days being a time of famine, a time of great death, and the beginning of wars. Okay, how many wars are jumping off right now? How many wars is DJT, America Babylon, jumping off on the earth right now? Just a crazy amount of conflict that's going on, and this goes into this man fulfilling his blessing of living by the sword, which is what he's done by his whole rulership, man. Okay, since Esau has came into power, starting with Alexander the Greek. When you read in Maccabees, it tells you that Alexander basically went throughout the earth and he made war with all the nations, with all the kings of the earth, so much so to where the earth was quiet before him. All right, so he pretty much put down all the kings of the nations, man, and he alone ruled. All right, so that's the same thing with this devil, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came in with the sword and he's going to go out the same very way, right? But again, Esau is living up to his blessing of living by the sword, man. Like, he's not trying to be diplomatic. Like, he's not trying to seem as though he's benevolent and he's, trying to do the right thing. I mean, that's what he's saying. But when you look at what he's doing, he's causing chaos and destabilization all around the earth because he has an agenda to fulfill at the end of it, man. Okay, which is setting up the kingdom of Satan on the earth, all right? That's what he's here to do, all right? And it's going to happen by way of chaos, violence, and confusion. All right, that's how this thing is going to come in. You see? But Iran in particular, what I'm saying, they're a nation where they're not going to just lay down like that, okay? Let me get this scripture. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, here we go. 2 Ezra 16 and 35. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb. Which pains, when the child cometh forth, Salakia, they slack not a moment. So we're in the time of the birth pains on the earth, man. Okay, to where the closer that we get towards Yahushua returning, these things are going to increase as a woman in labor increases in pain until that child is brought forth. So all these earthquakes, all this wild weather, so all these wars, all this confusion, all this back and forth with the nations, man. All right, the heathen imagining a vain thing. All of these things that we're seeing, these are the birth pains, man. Because why? This world hasteneth to pass away, as it is written. All right, that's why the days are going by faster. Nothing is hitting like how it used to hit. Food not even the same. Like, entertainment is like is really all now just like lackluster, bro. Like, what I'm saying? It's like, let's just get out of here, man. Like, that's the vibe in the earth right now. You have a lot of people talking about if they went to sleep and gave up the spirit, then they would be all right with that. This is how you have people talking now. Why? Because the whole earth is out of course, man. Everything is a damn mess. So people are like, yo, just send me back to the spirit world. I don't even want to do this no more. All right? This is where we at. But again, these are the birth pains, the plagues. All right? And people ain't seen that yet, man. All right? The worst is yet to come. Believe that. Okay? Verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn. The whole world is mourning, man. And sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Okay, so understanding what time we in, like you look, we in that season where we gonna have to leave a lot behind because hey, Esau's coming. All right, today a ICE officer, shot a woman in the face. Okay, they arresting people now for speaking against DJT and his regime. So a lot of shit is coming down the pipe, man. Like a lot of draconian stuff is coming down the pipe, and these things are gonna be presented to you very soon. All right, so it'd be wise to take heed to the warning and repent. Get yourself right with your Yahweh Shai while you still got the time, man. Because look, time is short and time is running out. All right, this ain't the time to play around. This ain't the time to be on your leads and settled and trying to figure out what you're gonna do next, man. Nah, what you need to do next is turn to the Lord. Right? That's the most important thing that you need to do. All right. Let me see here. 2nd Ezra 15. Second Ezra 15. Okay, here we go. 2nd Ezra 15, and we'll start at 27. All right, because see, the Carmanians, all right, which is another word for ancient Persia, all right, which would be modern day Iran, they play a pivotal, very important role in last days prophecy. Okay, so when you see all of what you see going on with Iran right now, it's not going to go how Esau think it's going to go, because Esau think he just going to stage a color revolution and he going to go in like he did Venezuela and just take it over. All right, because that's how America's moving right now. You know what I'm saying? Esau moving with a lot of pride. He's very arrogant. He's very boastful. Okay, you even seen that from the time when they changed the Department of Defense. All right, they renamed it the Department of War, meaning that instead of being on the defense now, they going on offense. Okay, which is what you see them doing all across the earth. Trump pretty much came out and said, listen, we're going to do what we want to do. Ain't nobody going to stop us, right? That's the pride these devils got on them right now. But the Lord got them in that spirit because he wants Esau to implode on himself, man. All right, because you have Europe divided. You have America divided from within. You have a lot of the MAGAs now turning on DJT. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you have a lot going on, man. Like the spirit in the earth is just super turned up right now. This is 2nd Ezra 15 in verse 27. It says, for now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, as we read in 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. All right, the plagues, the birth pains. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For Yahweh shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Behold, an horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia, all right, so Saudi Arabia as well, all right, they're going to be joined with the BRICS nations. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be joined with Russia and China and Iran as well. Right, they're going to come out to fight. Just wait what you see in the news about Saudi Arabia. You know what I'm saying? Like you've already been hearing rumors and things about Saudi, but they about to get more prominent real soon. Just you wait and see. The dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, meaning that they're going to come with a great host, a great army. All right, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, which is speaking about America and Babylon the Great. All right, so the Carmanians and the Arabians, along with Russia and China, North Korea, right, they're going to come against Babylon the Great. They're going to come against the West, the whore. Okay, now, when you go into the Carmanians, all right, just to get it for edification, right? Let's get this in the Jewish Encyclopedia. All right, now, here we go. The Carmanians, a people mentioned in 2nd Ezra's, the Carmanians are represented as joining battle with the nations of the dragons of Arabia. The dragons gain the upper hand, but are themselves defeated later. This has been taken to refer to the time of the Sassanids. Sapor I invaded Syria and took Antioch, but was repulsed by Odanathus and Zenobia. Zenobia was afterward defeated by Aurelian and taken captive. The name is still preserved in Kerman, a district in the southeastern part of Persia, which is Iran, on the shores of the Persian Gulf. All right, so the Carmanians in biblical prophecy are referring to modern day Iran. All right, and it's talking about how they're going to join forces with the Saudi Arabians and come to do battle against the Assyrians, which the modern day Assyrians again would be America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so Iran again is very prominent in last days prophecy, and it's about to go down, man. Okay, things are turning up in the so-called Middle East, Western Asia, and this is all the determination of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai. Okay, verse 31, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be trouble-bled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. Okay, so we in that time, man. You know, so we in that time where these things are coming forth. Everything is being set up for biblical prophecy to be fulfilled. All right, now when you get Revelation 16 chapter, right, Revelation 16 and verse 12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof is dried up. And if you look at the river Euphrates now, it's pretty much dry, man. All right, certain parts of the river Euphrates, like you can just walk across with you know, on your bare feet, man. All right, so these prophecies are being fulfilled, man. And the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Who are the kings of the east? Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, India, Saudi Arabia. Okay, just to name a few. You see? So the kings of the east, which Iran is a part of that, all right, that's, you know what I'm saying, this whole World War III is about to jump off in that region, and it's about to be very profound, all right, when this thing happens. Okay, and what I can see going down is the small hats or America, DJT, going up into Iran and doing something, and, you know, it causes, you know, international backlash, all right? Because everybody saw what just happened with Venezuela and Maduro. So they know that when America steps in, that pretty much they going in to do the same thing to destroy that country, all right? But the backlash is going to come, you know. Turkey, you know, they might, or they will separate from NATO, all right? Turkey separate, Saudi Arabia gets involved, and ultimately, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be a big conflict over there in that region, all right? But you even had Nada you say last year that your sons and daughters will die for the small hats, all right? He came out and boldly made that statement. So no doubt the way it's looking, war with Iran is coming this year, man. And we already see that they setting this thing up, all right? Let's get Luke 21 and verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations. Are we not seeing that right now? Distress of nations. Everywhere you look, it's protesting, it's mourning, it's anguish going on. All right, death with perplexity, a lot of confusion. The sea and the waves roaring, and the sea and the waves would represent the people. Okay, the people on the planet Earth are in an uproar, man. All right, they're not happy. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, so this is where we at, man. People's hearts failing them for fear. You know what I'm saying? Like even at the job today, like, you know what I'm saying, you had people talking about World War III. You know what I'm saying? You had people talking about a draft and, that they ain't going to war and I'm too old for this and all. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is becoming common conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because why? These are the times that we in. Okay, people are starting to realize what's going on. Like, hold on, wait a minute, man. Like, America, DJT is taking us to war. All right? And best believe that there will be a draft soon. Okay? It's not a matter of if, but when. You know what I'm saying? Because when all these wars that they jumping off, they don't have the standing military right now with the personnel that they have to fight all these wars. Okay, so they're gonna have to do a draft. You know what I'm saying? Esau gonna pass an executive order, all right, which they already got on the books. I think 18 to 26 right now, but they're gonna raise the age. But that demographic, they're gonna be sent out there to the front lines, man. Like you got Akim and Akwath having visions of World War III to where they seen all these people dying in these wars, man. So these things are about to come forth, man, very, very prominently. Okay? We can close out 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. All right? Because this is exactly what's going on. 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, in verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. We seen a whole lot of earthquakes go on, and we seen a whole lot of uproars, man. Okay, this is the time where the Lord Yahweh Bashmi Oshai is visiting the earth. Okay, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, referring to prophecy, what was written of in the law and the prophets, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The end is manifest through what? Through the signs, okay? Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs, you see? So the Lord told us what to look forward to in the last days, told us that there will be wars and rumors of wars, there will be earthquakes, that there will be famine, and all these things that happen, everything is on the table, man. Like, you got nations talking about firing off nuclear missiles. Now, we know that's not going to happen right now, but it will, all right? But we know that they already getting ready to crash this system, crash the economy, bring about the MOTB, and from there, you know what I'm saying, pretty much all bets are off. Okay, like once they roll out and mandate the MOTB, we out of here. All right. World War III nuclear fire is the last prophecy left to be fulfilled. All right. Then we you know what I'm saying, then we're gonna get up out of here, man. But again, time is short, keep striving in the faith, keep praying and seeking Yahweh Bashmi Oshai, man, because hey, we all gonna need the Lord in these times, man. You know what I'm saying? We all do. Okay, because as the scriptures say, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that you building up your spiritual fortitude, praying to the Lord for more faith, praying to the Lord to give you the spirit to endure these things, man, because once America goes left, like once they black out the grid and, once all the food dries up and everybody got an evil eye towards each other, look, it's not going to be nothing nice out here, Only the Lord is going to be able to get you through that. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying through the Rakah Kadash. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bashmi Abshai, Bashim Rakah Kadash. And until next time, Lord willing, shalom to the elect. Kwam Yashala, Wa Bible Ball. Shalom.